Let me ask you something. Have you ever really stopped to think if the way you communicate, the words you pick, the stories you tell, if it actually sounds like you? It's a deeper question than it seems, and it's pretty much at the heart of everything we're about to get into. Yeah, this image, it kind of says it all, doesn't it? Your identity, just like a fingerprint, is totally 100% unique. But figuring out how to communicate that uniqueness, finding your authentic voice, well, that's not something that just happens. It's a journey. So that's the real question, right? How do we actually do that? How do we go from just saying words to really expressing who we are deep down? How do we find that voice? Well, to figure that out, we're going to do something a little different. We're getting a really unique peek behind the curtain. We're going to follow an English language student named Carlos, and this whole explainer is actually built from his real class worksheet. We're going to see his answers, his aha moments, and watch him find his voice, one step at a time. Okay, first things first. We have to start with the basics, right? We're going to break down the anatomy of a message, the absolute fundamentals of communication, and we'll see it all through Carlos's eyes. So this right here is Carlos's first big takeaway, and honestly, it's a total game changer. He realized that public speaking isn't some kind of magic talent you're just born with. Nope, it's a teachable skill. And if it can be taught, well, that means it can be learned. That is such an empowering way to start. And here are the first tools he's putting in his toolkit. It's a mix of the mental stuff, like facing your fears, and super practical techniques, like changing up his tone and his pace. And I love this one. He specifically notes that slowing down is a really powerful way to grab people's attention. These are the nuts and bolts of speaking well. Okay, so you've got the mechanics down. But when you're actually up there in front of an audience, what do they really grab onto? What makes the biggest impact? Turns out Carlos thought about that too. And this chart just lays out his priorities perfectly. For Carlos, the single most important thing is the message, the actual substance of what you're saying. After that, it's eye contact and body language. But get this, look what he ranked dead last, picking specific words. For him, the core idea is way more powerful than using fancy vocabulary. That's a huge insight, because it shows he's already focused on being real over just sounding smart. All right, so Carlos has the big picture down, but to really truly connect with people, you need the right tools for the job. So in this next section, we're going to see him start to master the specific bits of grammar that can turn a speech into a real conversation. The first tool he gets into is the tag question. You know what I'm talking about? It's that little question you tack onto the end of a sentence. It seems like such a small thing, but it's incredibly powerful, isn't it? It invites the other person into the conversation and helps create a real connection. And here we go. We can see him putting them to work. You can almost feel the change in rhythm. That is a good start, isn't it? See? It's not just a fact anymore. It's an invitation. It's collaborative. He's not just talking at you, he's talking with you. What's the next tool? Relative pronouns. We're talking about words like who, which, and that. Think of these as the glue for your sentences. They're what let you weave bigger ideas together and add all that juicy descriptive detail without sounding all clunky. They're key to sounding more natural and sophisticated. And this is the main point, right here. All this stuff, tag questions, relative pronouns, it's not just boring grammar you have to memorize for a test. They're the bridge. They are what take you from just making sounds in a language to actually connecting with the human beings you're talking to. Okay, this is where it all starts to come together. He's got the fundamentals, he's got the tools, and now Carlos gets a chance to go beyond to the exercises and really let his personality shine. This section is all about the power of telling a story. So, he was given this picture as a prompt, a cyclist on a subway escalator. That's it. His job was to write a quick story about what's going on. Now, before I show you his answer, just take a second. What do you think is happening here? Got an idea? Okay, you ready? Because I can almost guarantee whatever you were thinking, it wasn't this. See, this cyclist isn't just on his way to work. No. According to Carlos,
he is about to destroy the keyboard on the head of his boss.
oh, and he built a whole story around it. The motive? His boss switched all the office computers to Linux. The logic, which is just brilliant, is that since he can't use Linux, the keyboard is now a useless piece, and so is his boss's head. And the best part, his colleagues might be happy if he achieves success. See, this is so much more than a language exercise, isn't it? This is his actual personality breaking through. It's funny, it's creative, a little bit dark, and it is 100% Carlos. He used those language tools not just to give an answer, but to actually express himself. So, for our final section, let's see how Carlos pulls all of this together. How does he take all these different lessons and start to consciously shape his own personal style of communicating? Well, he starts by finding a role model. For him, it's a Brazilian TV personality named Milton Neves Filho. But what's really interesting is that Carlos doesn't just say, I like this guy. He actually analyzes why he admires him, calling him a very smart communicator. And just look at the specific things he points out: the ability to talk for hours straight, how he can smoothly weave commercials into a conversation. He talks about his amazing timing and word choice. By calling him a true master of speaking, Carlos is really revealing the kind of polished, effortless communicator he wants to become himself. But of course, learning a new skill means making mistakes. It means dealing with pressure. So the worksheet asked him to pick an image that shows how he reacts when he makes a mistake. Is it calmness? Or is it frustration? It's a good question for any of us, right? How do you react? And Carlos's answer here just ties everything together perfectly. He says, I'm personally used to feeling calm in these situations. He even brings up his keyboard story again. He said he actually lived through a situation like that, and in his words, there are no keyboards destroyed here. His personality is totally consistent. He's calm, he's resilient, and he's got this great humorous way of looking at things. In the end, what Carlos's journey really shows us is that finding your voice is about learning the tools, yeah, and practicing the craft, but it's also about having the courage to just let your unique personality come shining through. His message is literally becoming his identity. So the final question isn't for Carlos anymore, it's for you. Who will you choose to be?